Welcome to Gender Talk 211. My name is Eva Lopa, and I am your host. Today's guest is a young politician with a blend of experience in youth leadership, in culture, and women empowerment. Welcome to the Rising Voices episode with Kongkong Thongano.
Hi, Kongkong.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to have you here.
I'm excited too.
You know, when I first told my team, I'm doing this show and it's called Women in Power, and there's an angle for new voices or rising voices. Mm-hmm. Everyone said, you have to speak to Hong Kong. Oh. I said, I don't know who this is. They said, no, you have to speak to her. So why don't you tell me and the audience who exactly you are and why everyone felt like you're just one of the right people to be on this show?
First of all, I'm honored. I think why they thought I should be here is because I love women. And secondly, it's because I also love culture. And I love women. I want to be around them, and I am a young woman in politics. I do research, and I'm also in the finance field. I did economics, and I did, and I thought the world is shifting and money is power.
Yeah.
And I did not want to waste to do any other.
Money is power.
Yeah, money is power.
True.
So I just wanted to go direct to money and understand the dynamics of money and the economy. So that's where I went to do economics. Then when I finished school, I got involved in youth politics.
Yeah.
And also, politics is power. So money and politics together will be very powerful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at first you were after the money and power.
Yeah.
Now, you've been in politics for quite some time now.
Yeah.
So how do you start that journey?
I started with Upper Nile Youth Union, the Greater Upper Nile. And I was the deputy chairperson. That's where I started politics.
Okay.
And it went well for 2 years.
How did you, is it an elected position?
Yeah, well, my position, deputy, was appointed.
Appointed.
But the chairperson was elected.
Okay.
Yeah, the chairperson, the speaker, and the rapporteur are the only positions that are elected.
So from Upper Nile, you are now with the National Youth Union. What's your position?
I'm the Deputy Secretary for Information.
Now, how do you get to that position?
Well, so for National Youth Union, it's bigger than, of course, the Greater Upper Nile. This was, we're under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and there are elections. We can do elections. Of course, not all positions are elected. The positions that are elected are more so like for the Upper Nile. The chairperson, the speaker, and the rapporteur are the elected positions.
For the youth union?
Yeah, for the youth union. And then how you come to be appointed, we have councils. And if you're in the council already, they can appoint you in a position. So I was delegated from where I come from my state. And then that's how I got to be appointed.
Okay, so what is your role exactly?
My role as a Deputy Secretary for Information is, first of all, of course, to give out information.
Yes.
Accurate information from the National Youth Union and to the Ministry of Youth, and also with the youth information. We are like a bridge between the youth and the ministry.
Oh, nice. Any activities that have been done to sort of bridge that gap?
Well, actually, through the National Youth Union, we've been engaged. I represented the youth of South Sudan in Ethiopia last year with IGAD. and others have been representing also South Sudan. And this is an opportunity through the National Youth Union. And other activities that we have done, we've carried out as, we've also carried out sports. Yeah. They're organized by the Youth Union and the Ministry of Youth.
So the ministry and the youth union work.
We work together hand in hand.
Yes, hand in hand together. Okay. What makes politics interesting to you?
Power. I think power makes politics interesting, and how someone in power in politics can make a decision that will affect your life. I think that's what makes politics interesting.
Do you think the steps that you've been taking in your political career, or rather, let me frame it like this: what do you want to achieve
Through the politics?
Yes.
What I want to achieve is to be able to be in a table of decision making. That's what I want to achieve in my political career, because I feel like decisions that are being made sometimes are not inclusive.
Gender inclusive.
Yeah, especially gender inclusive, and I want to be there.
Tell me about your experience with that.
Gender and politics. Well, in the political atmosphere, just like in the homes, they feel like there are some roles for women and roles for men, even with politics. So for me, I feel like there are these gender positions. This is for men, this is for women. They feel like, oh, this is a soft position, it should be given to a woman because she's softer. And this is a tough decision to make. Only men can do it. But I disagree. Yeah, and also in the political area, women are underlooked sometimes. And yet some of these women, according to their education background, they are higher than the men. So I don't know what they measure women, like I don't know what they're using to measure. Is it education? I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, you're not the only one that, has those thoughts or experiences. I think all women have experienced that, where you could be the most qualified in the room, but somehow your gender becomes a factor. And the reason why you're going to be pushed aside or overlooked, like you said, it's an experience that all women go through. So kudos to you for trying to, figure it out.
Thank you.
Somehow. Yeah, so your position now within, I'm assuming you're no longer with the Upper Nile
Yes.
Youth Union, since now you have your new position. Aside from that, you're also trying to build your skill, and trying to build your knowledge when it comes to politics. I know that you've done the training, Political Minds training. Tell me about the training, what the purpose behind it was, and what you also learned from it.
Well, I feel like every young lady, every person, not just even young lady, every person who is in politics needs to go through the Political Minds program, because the things and the skills I learned have impacted my thoughts and how I navigate this political journey. From networking to communications in politics, I've learned a lot. And judging others also through the lens.
Judging others. I would advise you don't do that. But yes, what exactly was Political Minds program about?
It took us through skills. We built on skills on politics, around politics, and it was through, we had 5 modules for 5 months. It was a long
That's a
training.
long training, yeah.
Yeah, every month, 3 days. And every month we learned a new module and a new topic that we didn't know. And we didn't know we needed it, but it was very important.
What was your favorite module?
I think it was communicating,
Okay.
how to communicate as a leader. Because I've seen leaders not knowing how to communicate. Rather, they threaten their people when they're communicating. But I learned how to communicate, especially crisis and body language and all these things. And it was very important for me in my political journey to know how to communicate to the people.
Okay, but I was going to ask you, what was your takeaway, and if there's something you took back with you to apply at the National Youth Union, but I guess that would be it. How to communicate. That's important for your role.
Especially for my role.
Exactly. Did you do the training before or after you actually got the role?
After.
After, okay, got it. So I want to know just what it's like for you now being such a young woman and you're in the political space, a male-dominated field, what it's like for you to, do you have a voice? Do you feel like you have a voice in the space that you're in?
I think as a young woman in politics, we always have a need to talk, for people to know that we're in the room. And even for men, they don't have to talk. People know that they are there, but for us women, we have to talk. I have to say something in the room so that they know we are around. Unfortunately, that's how it's working. And also, we are being labeled as 35%. That's our name now.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, I still need to fight.
Yeah.
I need to fight, and unfortunately, so many young women are scared to be in the political area because of such things. Why do I have to talk for people to recognize me? And for the men, they don't even have to be asked to talk. They'll talk. So I'm like, if men are talking without being asked, then we have to talk.
Yeah. It's not easy to navigate.
Yeah.
Would you tell another young woman, join the political space?
Yeah, I'll tell them to.
With all the challenges that
With all the
you
challenges.
go through every day?
Yeah, I'll tell them to join because I think the more we'll be, the bigger our voice will be.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I think unity of women, unity of people in general produces results.
Yeah.
I imagine unity of women, yes, it will be impactful. Yeah. So I do agree, more women need to be in the political space specifically. Now, being as young as you are, you're probably on social media and you interact with a lot of youth on social media. What is your view on social media and just the political space right now?
Social media is very important, but can also be used very negatively as a tool in politics. It can also be used to market yourself. It can also be used to get to know what the youth are thinking, because most of them, they post out their thoughts. And I wish the youth would know how to use social media, because it can be very, very powerful.
You don't think youth know how to utilize social media yet?
Utilizing it very well.
What would you say is the correct way to utilize social media?
Well, we have so many, let me say, topics, or what should I say? We have so many things we could be talking about as a country, but we decide to talk about sometimes even irrelevant things on social media. One of the things I learned through the Political Minds program, we can shift a topic, we can turn a topic to talk about something, yet we all know there's something we really want to talk about, but there's something we want to change, but we're not talking about it because the media houses are talking about something which we think is not the main thing. And we, the people, we know what we want to talk about. And we can use social media to talk about it.
Okay, so you think there can be, distractions,
Yes.
sort of, from talking about what youth should be
Yeah.
engaging in.
Yeah.
If you could gather youth right now and just have a conversation, what would that conversation sound like?
I think the biggest thing I would want to talk about is tribalism. Well, how is it helping us? I'll ask them, how is it helping? Because most of us as South Sudanese, we've grown around different cultures. We've grown around, every one of us. If there is a song that is being played, like a long time ago song, even you don't know where it's coming from, but you know that song. And now what happened? Why are we having tribalism? And it's not helping us.
Yeah, and nowadays it's even more on the rise, especially on social media. Yes. Funny enough, I don't know, where did you grow up? Early life?
I grew up in Kenya,
Okay.
went to Uganda,
Yeah.
then to Ethiopia, then back to Uganda, and now I'm here.
Yeah. So majority of us South Sudanese who grew up within Africa or East Africa, you were either in Khartoum, in Kenya, Uganda, just the surrounding. So I grew up in Khartoum. And my entire life in Khartoum, I have never heard, I think, the word tribalism. It didn't exist for me. I never experienced it. I think at that time, I didn't even know that many tribes. I knew South Sudanese. I knew if you're South Sudanese, you're one of my own, and we're the same.
Yeah.
Coming to South Sudan, we get independence, then this is introduced to me. Tribalism is introduced to me. Okay, what is this? And why is it coming up? We've never heard of this before. Why do you think tribalism is so engraved in us nowadays?
I don't know. I grew up in Kenya, as I told you. Recently, when I graduated actually in 2021, I was coming back home. And at the airport, I needed money. And I just looked for any South Sudanese. I don't know his name. I looked for a South Sudanese. I spotted one. I told him my problem. I need money. And he asked me, how much do you need? He wanted to even give me more than I wanted, just because I'm a South Sudanese. And then I asked for exactly what I wanted, and he helped me. I don't know his name.
Until today?
Until today. I've never seen him again. And just because he's a South Sudanese. But when we come back home, I don't know what changes.
Yeah, it really, one of the reasons why I don't sleep at night, it's tribalism, and why it's very much engraved in us right now. How do you think we can move on, especially for the youth? How do we move on from this thing called tribalism?
I don't know how to, but for me, at home, we have so many tribes at home. Like my uncles, they marry a lot.
Yeah.
So we have so many
Sounds
tribes.
like a South Sudanese problem. They marry a lot.
They marry a lot. So we have so many tribes within the home. So we don't really talk about it. And I think that's what I'll carry on with my kids later on in the future.
Okay, she says later on in the future because she's kind of young right now. So take your time. Don't worry. We'll give you time. I also know that you're into research.
Yeah.
And you've had a recent one that happened. Tell me about your research, just career path and what you've done so far.
So I'm into research, as you said, and my most recent one is called When Women Sing. It's about women and about culture. How women use culture as a platform for communication. Because most of it, we grew up thinking women don't talk, or women can't say what they want because maybe they fear. But I came to realize they actually speak. through different things, and people understand what they're saying.
Through different...
Mediums, cultural mediums.
Okay.
Like singing, dancing, beads, and hairstyles too.
Wonderful. So is it a research paper? Is it a documentary? What was the final production?
It's the final output are songs, pictures, and a report.
I have not read the report or seen the final output yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing that. What did you learn throughout that process?
What I learned, actually my research paper is not out. It's still in the last bits of editing.
Okay.
And what I learned is that women have a voice. It's just maybe not loud enough, but they have a voice. And my research happened in a Greater Bibor. So I researched on Murle women. I found out they sing a lot. I also found out that they sang a lot of songs during the struggle, women. And yet I grew up thinking women didn't take part. They sang about people even beyond their land. That means women were well learned. They knew about the struggle.
Yeah.
They knew they wanted independence too. So they sang about people that were not from their place. And it's also showing that people were one at that time.
Yeah, it does. And I don't think I've ever interviewed women from Pibor or so on. What is the experience of having those conversations and looking back into their history?
Actually, they are very excited about their culture, and they are happy when someone wants to know about it. And then I also learned that it shows changes with time.
Yeah.
Because they have age sets, so everything is attached to age set. And the most beautiful thing about the women there is a group of women called Kabarze. And for the first time in history, women have been involved in decision making through Kabarze. Because the Kabarze women did something that the authorities or NGOs didn't do. There was chaos within age sets, and the women decided, since we gave birth to these boys, they'll listen to us. They went dancing where the boys were fighting themselves, and whoever didn't want to put their gun down, they would strip. So they're scared to see their mothers naked, so they will give up their guns. So from that time, they have not fought since 2017, they haven't fought in the town.
Wow.
So the authorities, the government, and the NGOs were like, you've done something we couldn't do. And they built for them their own center. And so when they go to for decision making, they go as women, not as the government, not as NGO. They go as women, and they also make decisions.
That is so amazing. Is that in the research as well?
It's also part of the research.
I can't wait to see and read all about it or watch it. I actually can't wait. Now, you seem very interested in culture as well.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of your work, when I was just reading through your profile, majority of it has something to do with culture. What is it about culture that is so attractive to you, and how do you think it both positively and negatively impacts women?
Let me start positively. Positively, women are familiar with culture. Some women know only culture. They know how to speak to their kids or discipline their kids through culture, and getting married or living with people, living with their neighbors, they know through culture. And how to also voice out their thoughts, they know it through culture. My mother, I grew up in Kenya, as I said, and I actually went to my village for the first time last year. But I know how to speak my language, read and write through my mom. So I feel like women they are the reason to preserve, they preserve culture.
That is very true.
Yeah. So through my mom, I learned so much about my culture. And I think that's the beauty of culture, how to live with people. But the negative side of culture would be people have used culture to cage women. They will say, oh, it's because of culture. It's because of culture as to why you should marry as young as 16. It's just our culture. We've been doing this since our ancestors. But people don't understand that culture changes. We leave what is harmful and we continue with the good ones. Even we incorporate, like you can, you see what your neighbors do. Maybe someone can go to their neighbors long time ago and come back and say, I've seen that our neighbors are doing this and this, let's do this. We have one of our age sets right now in Bibor. This age set so that our neighbors, which are the Bor, they are very educated. So they have used their symbols. We want to be as educated as them. So I was like, if we could see what our neighbors are doing, why don't we also remove the bad ones? But they won't listen. Hopefully they will listen soon.
Hopefully. What do you think we can do about it? What do you think women can do about it?
We need to unite. We need to be one, because what I'm suffering with is the same as what you're suffering with.
Yeah.
And if I have a woman to report to, for example, sexual harassment, if I know there are women who will back me up, there are women who will protect me, I will not fear to report. But if there is no one I can report to, I'll fear to.
Do you think that women at this point right now aren't united?
I feel like they're united, but I don't think they know they're united. We are united because if I tell you my problem, but I think we don't know how to reach out to each other maybe. Because in my journey, my political journey, in my career, I've met women that I believed, they have made me believe what I want is possible. But I didn't know them before. So I thought it was not possible until I met them.
Yeah. And how would you bring women together or unite women? How would you do that? What do you think that looks like even?
It looks like where I'm not afraid. It looks like a village, a very, very big village of women that that protect me. I feel like that's how it would look like. And I think social media comes in again. But for women in the grassroots, I think they're the ones who need us more.
Why?
Why? Because for me in the town, I know my rights. But the women in the grassroots level, they may know their rights, but they don't know how to exercise it. And they don't know if they'll be protected when they exercise their rights.
Do you think women at grassroots are isolated?
To some extent. I think they're isolated.
How do you, a young woman with a position within the National Youth Union, how do you engage young girls at grassroots or young women at grassroots? How do you go about that?
It's very difficult to get in touch with them because, we can use, we've used radio to talk to them because they use it a lot. They use radio, they listen to the radio. But then most of their places don't have even electricity. So we can't use like television or newspapers, they don't read. So I feel like the best way would be to go to them regular visits, which is very hard.
Why is that hard?
Some of these places you can only access them through flights. For example, in Bibor, you have to use a plane only.
I understand that, but I think also you've made such great moves. outside of your position at the National Youth Union, I think your research, you did it with the support of Rift Valley, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
And I'm sure you are supported to make those kind of trips. So why not start programs, start projects that involve visiting women at grassroots, young women at grassroots all over South Sudan? I've had this conversation with so many women in politics, and I get the same answer. It's, it's hard. It's difficult for us to get there. But there are so many other reasons that get you there. But when it now comes to including, engaging, and involving women at grassroots, all of a sudden it's difficult. Maybe we need to take a step back and look at what exactly our priorities are. Because to go back to what you're saying about unity or women uniting, that gap that you're feeling is because not all women are involved.
That's true.
You know what I mean? We stay here in Juba, in the city, we involve ourselves, we talk to each other, and it feels like you're talking to everybody or engaging. But that's not true. The majority are outside, not even here. So maybe we take a step back and just look at this seriously or make it a priority.
Actually, most of the workshops that I attend, we are almost the same people. Same people.
Yes.
When I was carrying out the research, the women, they are hopeful, and they feel like the women in the town can do something for them. Until a very recent that they had a maternal hospital in Bibor, and they feel like through research, people get to know what they want. So they're having so much hope. And why I was saying it's difficult, so much resources are needed. And we can do it through unity.
Yeah, through unity and the two things that you named in the beginning, money and power. It's very, very important. What would you say in your journey right now has been the most challenging experience being a young woman in politics?
One of the challenging things is being a woman and young. When people see a young woman in an office, not even in just politics, they believe you're supposed to make for us tea. I don't understand why. I think gender roles are even being brought to politics and offices. And for me, I don't like it. And I think that's one of the things that is challenging for me.
Yeah.
Because it also goes to the positions, as I said. They feel like these positions are for women and these are for men. They don't consider my degree. They don't consider my educational background. They just know, as you're a woman, this is what is good for you.
Yeah.
That's very challenging.
What's been your response to it? How do you deal with it?
I persist.
You persist.
Yeah. I persist. I want this. I'll get it done. I want to do this. And also, what's in the political area, you need to know the law. When you know the law and you know your rights, even though some people don't respect rights, you know the law and you can use it for your defense.
Yes, to defend yourself or protect yourself.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. What is next for you?
I want to continue in politics. I also want to continue in career and research. I want to continue researching so many things because I believe there's so many topics we can research about. Because South Sudan is still so much more to be done.
And explore, discover.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. What would you say to your fellow South Sudanese right now? Fellow young
South
Sudanese, yes.
The first thing I would say is Tribalism is not doing anything good for us. And then I would also tell them that there is hope. There is hope if we continue doing what we believe in change, then we work towards it. Yeah. Then there will be hope if we're working towards what we want.
Yeah. One of the challenges that I hear from young people, especially young women who aspire to join politics, one of the main challenges they have are their families.
Yeah.
Where, they're not okay with certain, I'm guessing you have to join a political party. They're not okay with certain things that you'd have to do. Has your family been supportive, or what do they think about you being in politics?
My family is very supportive.
Wonderful.
Yeah, my mom is supportive, my dad is supportive, and maybe that's why I'm confident.
What would you say to society, families, South Sudanese families, about allowing or being okay with letting young, not just young people, but young women join politics?
When they let their young boys go and do politics, they don't think the boy is going to do this, is going to sleep around. But when a girl goes out, they suddenly start thinking of such things. Who is she going to sleep with? The same young boys they release. So if you think the boy is going to do good, also believe the girl is going to do good.
Yeah.
You've taken your girls to school. Did you take me to school to just come and sit around? You took me to school so that I come and change my country. You took me to school so that I can come and make decisions in the country. So if you could put your money for school fees, why don't you put your faith in me?
I 100% agree, not just politics, but actually any male-dominant field. I agree with that. My last question would be, what do you hope to do? What do you hope to achieve with the position that you do have right now at the National Youth Union? And what do you wish to see in the future of the National Youth Union?
What I would want to do, I'd want to encourage more women to join, more young women to join. And I don't want us to look on the negative things. I don't want us to look at the negative things and think it's weighing the good, because it starts like that. We get involved and we become powerful. And so what I want to do is to encourage young women. Also, what I want to do since I'm in between a gap of the National Youth Union, the ministry, and the youths of South Sudan, I'd want to give them the information. I feel like honesty and transparency is very, very important when you're giving out information, and that's something I want to do. And what I want to see in the future is more women participating and not fearing. And also, so many young women fear politics because of sexual harassment. So I would also want to put in place, because the law is very clear about sexual harassment. I don't know, but we're still scared. So I also want to create something that will make the young women feel safer when they come into politics about sexual harassment.
Yeah. Sounds all great. Thank you so much, Kongkong. Thank you so much for being on the show.